Alright, so if you are here, you are looking for directions on the Prince and the Pauper project. Maybe you are absent or missed class, so you're going to look at this. So to start, we will go to Google Classroom. So if you look under the Prince and the Pauper tab, there's a lot of different things in here for the project. And we're going to start where it says Prince and the Pauper project assignment. Now you have paper copies of this as well, but this is where you can find it in case you lose it or anything. And we're going to start here. This is the Prince and the Pauper option menu of choices. So I'm going to ask that right now you take a minute to go through, kind of annotate this on your own, pause the video, and then come back when you have done so. Okay, so make sure you understand the directions, and then we'll talk about it when you're done. Okay, great. Okay, so if you are back, that means that you have hopefully annotated this, gone through, made some notes to yourself, understood it a little bit. So here is what you need to know. For Prince and the Pauper, we are going to take all of the standards that we have learned this year in English class, and you are going to make one final project, a summative project, in which you show your different skills and you show kind of everything you have learned. Okay, and you have different options on how to do that. So you'll notice first that we're broken up into 3 different types of writing: narrative, argument, and expository, or informational, whatever you want to call that. Okay, we already know how to do those. Then within those, there are 3 options on how you would like to create that final product, or what you would like to produce for that, okay? So anything from a poem to Google Slides to a device column, there's all sorts of things, okay? So that's kind of number 1, is we went through and kind of looked at that, looked at our different options. Now below, this kind of breaks down a little bit deeper for each type of writing that we're doing. It breaks down what that could look like, okay? So there's lots of different things that you can look at here and select. The other thing I want to say, guys, is you can create your own product too. So if you see these and these are not exciting you as much as maybe something you have in your mind, we can also do that. That's an option. Okay, so we have narrative options, argumentative options, and then informational options. So all 3 of these are spelled out, and you have different options to choose from. This is where we're going to start. Now, we will have work days in class in which we break down the time. So we are going to start with argument, for instance, and take about 2 to 3 days on that. So we'll focus on one section at a time. Okay? If you ever happen to be done early or are looking for ways to extend your learning, there are extensions down here that will help you kind of again further your learning and that kind of thing. Okay? So that's a lot of information at first, but that is the assignment sheet. That's where we're starting. Okay? So next what we did is we looked at an example in class. Okay, so this is also on Google Classroom. Let me bump back here. This is where you click here and it should pop up with the example. Okay, so this is by a student who did this another year. Okay, and I went through with the class and we kind of looked at the different things, and now it's hard to capture it all on my screen here. But you can see the different things that this student had to offer on their Google site. So you can see here they have an introduction talking about Mickey Mouse, the different things that were going on there, pictures of the different versions that we watched. Okay, up here it had more description, right, and then a conclusion. So really beautiful website, and what we're really focused on is how well do you use that type of writing. This one was argument, like we saw, and we saw how well the student did that. Next page on this person's Google site was narrative, and so they chose to write their own story, and so they went on and used Prince and the Pauper as kind of their basis. Lots of potatoes in this story. And you can just kind of look through and see that this person did a really nice job again of setting up how to use the narrative using Prince of the Pauper as the base. And then finally was informational or expository, whatever you want to call it. And this person chose to do an interview with King Henry down here, which I think is pretty funny. And so here you can see the different questions that they had and answers based on the characters that we studied. And then this person also chose to do extensions, which was nice, and just made some funny memes about Prince and the Pauper. Okay, so that's the big picture. This is the assignment. Next in class we went through and we talked about the different options that we have to us. So these are all paper copies in the room, but we went through the different planning sheets. So here's an argument plan sheet. This is if you lose it. There's a narrative one, and then there's an informational one. There's also a rubric. So we spent time looking at all of those things as well, making sure that we kind of understood the end product. Right now I'm going to ask you to pause this video and look at your rubric and kind of annotate that. Make sure you understand how you're going to be graded before we come back and talk about last steps. So right now, please pause this video, go through the rubric, annotate it, make sure you know what's expected of you. Okay? All right, if you are back, that means that you have just gone through and annotated your rubric, okay guys? So the last thing is, again, that calendar. We're gonna break down day by day which piece we are going to be working on. So we'll start with argument, and then you'll get kind of more clear directions within your class about what that looks like. But the idea is here, picking which one of these products or creating your own that you think you might want to do, and then using that planning sheet, which you can get a paper copy of in the classroom, to kind of help you, okay? So that's a really fast overview of the project. I know it might be a little bit confusing, but now I'm going to ask you to go over this information, kind of make sure you understand the end goal, what it looks like, what it means, and then come talk to me if you have any other questions. Thank you.